anyway, these are really tough things to think about. But fundamentally, I think we should be thinking about this. So I think we have, as I said, I think we have these competing monetary systems, East versus West. The last one would be Bitcoin. We want to get to that eventually. Bitcoin would be like the third independent monetary system kind of fighting each other out. So you've got the three. And so this whole topic, I think, impacts several things we talked about. Obviously, inflation, supply chains. Okay, so inflation because Russia and Ukraine are the highest exporters of wheat and several other grains, as well as obviously energy is a big exporter from Russia. So we're talking massive inflation on everything. Supply chains are going to be hugely fucked up during the middle of a war, especially when those guys are providing so many important things. There's no way supply chains is going to help supply chains. We've got, obviously, energy crisis that we talked about because Russia controls its own energy. We've got the Bitcoin thing. And in fact, Bitcoin is doing exactly what we expect Bitcoin to do in such a crisis. It's skyrocketed. So it's doing exactly what we always expected it to do, and it's interesting to see that. And I think we'll talk about Bitcoin in a second. But this is the type of event that's the ultimate like complex system issue, where everything is sort of interconnected and we're not thinking fully about everything. So I do think this is sort of the event we probably should focus on and all the implications that are happening. So first, let's talk about Bitcoin. As I said, Bitcoin is working as intended. And I do think this is the third monetary system where finally we have a global currency that could possibly be priced. And if we're smart, and the U.S. government was smart, they'd buy it and then start saying we're trading in Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin into gold would do very well, whereas U.S. dollar into it would be very bad. And then it's possible that Russia turns on the tap and says, we'll take oil in exchange for Bitcoin. That's another option they could do. I could see that potentially happening. I think the odds of them doing gold are probably better. But Bitcoin is the one thing I think you could fight off the gold fight. And it was really refreshing to see how it was being used. So it's also being used by the Ukrainian government to they're funding the war in Bitcoin, as well as other cryptocurrencies. And I think finally we have this one event that's impacting everything. I think it's the first time people have understood the full implications of Bitcoin. Because if you were Russian and you had Bitcoin and you had it off the exchange, your net worth was secured. They already hit, I think, an all-time high in rubles as the ruble fell. But Bitcoin's at all-time high in rubles right now, I believe. This last time I checked, it was pretty close if it wasn't there. And that's exactly why you should own Bitcoin and hold it off the exchange. Also, it's an international value transfer network that no one controls, so no one can kick you off of it, like Swift. Anyone can plug into it.
That's a big deal.
100%.
People
I think
we're starting to see.
I think this is
what Bitcoin was made for.
That's exactly what Bitcoin was made for, and the price reacted exactly as we expected it, as Ukrainians and Russians both tried to pile into Bitcoin. And then other people probably piled in thinking that they might pile in. But as a result, I do think we're finally seeing, I think not everybody, but certainly some more people understand, oh, that's the purpose of Bitcoin. I can't get kicked off this network. Oh, that's the purpose of this Bitcoin. A government can't do something fucking stupid and devalue all my money by running into a country. Running into a country in a war I didn't want to be involved in, right? So.
Right. Yeah, if you have Bitcoin, you're in Russia. You just leave right now, Russia. You're with all your money. You're fine.
Yeah. If you had it all on your hardware wallet, you just leave. And I'm sure every Russian oligarch wishes they had more Bitcoin and less soccer clubs. Who's the one who had Chelsea? The guy who had Chelsea had to sell it. I bet he wished he bought Bitcoin instead of a soccer club right now. He'd be able to walk out.
If you're Ukrainian, you could send your wife away and your kids away and
stay
to Poland or wherever they get, and wherever they get, they just log on and they get their Bitcoin, and you take all their money with you.
You're not going to try to run with Russian. You're not going to try to run with gold bars because you will definitely be found out. Like that's the other thing. This thing is you can literally don't even have to bring your hardware wallet. You could bring the hardware wallet. You set it up on your hardware wallet. You remember the 12 words. You smash your hardware wallet. And if you remember the 12 words, you can rebuild the hardware wallet on the other side.
Exactly. So you just take it in your head.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's literally in your head.
What Bitcoins? I don't know what Bitcoins is.
I don't know what Bitcoins is.
I don't know what Bitcoins is.
I don't know what Bitcoin
and then you
is.
just get there and fix it.
Is that a physical thing? Is it like gold? I don't understand.
Yeah,
like I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't you have to have a hardware wallet for it? No, you do not have to have a hardware wallet. You just need to have those words. So fundamentally, a hell of a lot easier to run.
Nate's got your hardware wallet in his node right there.
Yeah. So technically, you can rebuild it anyway. So this is time for Bitcoin.